We're live, everyone. What's going on here? This is a special edition of Bronx Sports Jedi Network in collaboration with Nick's Real Talk. Divine will be here shortly. He'll be in the following segment. We're just doing a test run when we do our draft party. I appreciate you guys joining me this evening here, this beautiful July 15th, 8 o'clock this evening. I appreciate you. We're going to be breaking down. I got a special guest here that's going to talk about UFC fighting as well. We got some good cards upcoming. But first, I just want to get through. Salute to everyone in the chat. Salute to everyone aboard. Don't forget, tomorrow night, we will be at Nick's Real Talk with myself and Divine. Divine will be here in a shortly. He's running a little behind, but he'll be here like always. And we appreciate you guys coming along here. We'll go right into the soccer. We've seen that the Euro Cup has come to an end. We see Italy won their Euro Cup. Congratulations to Italy. They won on penalty kicks, as well as Argentina. They won on the penalty kicks. And we all know right now that the Gold Cup is full in effect. Right now we got a 1-0 match between Canada and Haiti. That's right before halftime. It's 32 minutes left. We've seen Team USA with a 1-0 victory in these games against Haiti. On Sunday, we see El Salvador 2-0 over Guatemala. We've seen the tie between Mexico and Trinidad and Tobago. That's a shocker right there. Jamaica and Suriname 2-0. Jamaica wins. Costa Rica with a 3-1 over Guadeloupe. We have Qatar a 3-3 tie with Panama. Honduras with an impressive 4-0 victory. And we're part of the group stage match. We know we have yesterday we had El Salvador 2-0 win over Trinidad and Tobago. We also saw Mexico bounce back with a 3-0 win over Guatemala. And tonight it's USA. Team USA plays Martinique. And that's at 9:30. All eyes there. If you're a soccer fan, Team USA will be in action, and we'll look forward to see them in action. Salute to M. Rosario, to CT, to Frank Matos. Divine will be here, and we'll be breaking down the NBA playoffs and the NBA finals. We'll leave the Knicks Real Talk. Some of the stuff we'll get to it around the league tonight as well as tomorrow. But we want to unpack the Knicks tomorrow and a little bit on the show. We'll give you a tease of it. But that's the Gold Cup results, and where that breaks that down. And I'm gonna bring in my UFC expert. We'll talk some UFC, and I'll put the chat there for anyone that wants to come on board and wants to talk to my boy here, my son, with the UFC breakdown. Salute to everyone. I put the chat there. You guys want to come on? Anyone that wants to talk UFC right now, and I'll just bring them in real quick, and we'll bring them in here. My young son, my young Jedi, Austin. Let me give you his intro. And no further ado, Austin, welcome aboard. What's going on, my young man? How are you?
I'm doing all right. You doing all right yourself?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. We're gonna break into it. Let's go with UFC 264. We saw last weekend in the T-Mobile Arena. We seen the. Let's start with the heavyweight. The main event between Conor McGregor and Justin Poirier. I want to hear your thoughts and the aftermath on that.
Well, it was a very, interesting fight to say the least, obviously. I mean, Conor, like early on, was, attacking aggressive against Dustin, throw the leg kicks, but then when Dustin stung him, I believe like 2 minutes left in the round or somewhere between 3 and 2 minutes. I don't remember what part. Conor goes for a guillotine, which is very uncharacteristic of Conor McGregor to go for a guillotine, especially against a black belt Poirier, which he escapes the 10 easily, just lands some vicious shots on him on the ground. And, McGregor was fighting back, but still, Poirier was still in control. And then, obviously, I think within like 30 seconds left, they both get up. And I think McGregor, I think he went for a kick, I believe, or something. And I'm trying to remember. I'm forgetting where Conor McGregor broke his leg. We all know what happened. McGregor breaks his leg. He lands it. It's the horrible scene. And the fight ends at the first round, doctor stoppage. Poirier wins. Poirier won the trilogy, and we got the whole aftermath where Joe Rogan's interviewing McGregor on the man. McGregor's very angry still, calling Poirier's wife a hoe because she DM'd him, which who knows what she was even messaging before, and all that mess. And it's a lot of, and well, it's be interesting to see. It seems like McGregor has already had surgery successful. He said he's been on crutches for 6 weeks, I believe, and I don't know like how long the injury is going to take to recover. And I heard from Dominic Cruz in the post show that it was going to be like 6 months, potential 6 months for it to heal up. So maybe probably a year before we see McGregor fight again. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I don't know McGregor's body. I don't know how long it may heal quicker. Who knows? But yeah, but Poirier took after he hurt McGregor in the feet in like the middle part of the first round. So it was like Poirier's round basically. Stunned him, McGregor for the guillotine, big mistake. Poirier was able to land some shots on the ground. I think he busted McGregor's ear. If you remember, he had like that blood coming out of his like left ear,
Right.
and also threw some elbows and stuff. And it seemed like I mean, who knows what happened around round 2? But even then, I don't know if McGregor had shit. Who knows what shot McGregor would have had in the second round, or even the rest of the fight. It went to the second round. If he didn't injure his leg.
Right. I want to quickly salute Frank Matos, CT, the streets are buzzing, M. Rosario, Camilio, Jorge Puentes. What's going on? I'm glad you're here. We're here breaking down the UFC portion of the Bronx Sports Jedi Network and Nick's Real Talk with Divine. He'll be on shortly. He'll be coming on pretty soon. And we've seen that. What do you think is this aftermath with this fight? Would there be a fourth fight in near future, or would it take time, or are they just done with that and been there, done that, and you're gonna leave one McGregor with ill feelings of wanting to fight Poirier, and Poirier just don't want to deal with it.
Well, Poirier afterwards say he's willing to do the fourth fight. That when mind doing the fourth fights, I think it's more of hatred of McGregor after the aftermath of what happened. And plus, Dana White says he's open to the fourth fight, McGregor being the big star. It seems likely to happen. But the problem is this: the next fight with Poirier, that makes sense, is really the title fight against Charles Oliveira. If you remember last week, I said whoever won this fight was going to fight Oliveira for the 155 title. And if Poirier were to beat Oliveira, which is possible, I mean, how do you justify Poirier and McGregor with a belt on the line when McGregor has lost his last 2? It just doesn't make sense. I mean,
right. And we see a comment here from Jorge Puentes that says he said it's either in the ring or in the street they will fight.
Yeah, Poirier did say that. Yes, he did. That's a good point by Jorge.
Right. And they definitely wanted to get involved and get into that, and they really had some bad blood on those two folks. We see that going in there. Man, that was a pretty quick. A lot of drama with that action in that fight. It's good to see. It's now all eyes goes to Oliveira and Poirier. If you ask me, would they fight? When would that fight be done? Would it be done in December to finish off the year, or would we have to wait?
So. November, December, probably.
Oh man, that's gonna be. No, that's fine. That's all. That'll be interesting to see. To see that fight and to see that going. Two of the big heavyweights going at it. Absolutely.
Well, lightweights, but I know what you mean. The two top dogs in the weight class going at each other.
Right, and then we'll see. We'll see how that breaks down. What do you think? I see another. Oh, salute to Hector. What's going on, Hector? Project Nerd. One of my co-hosts in the bilingual program. I appreciate you there. Let's hope that UFC is getting buzzed. Let's talk about the co-main event. We seen Gilbert Burns fight Wonder Boy Thompson. Pretty good fight, if you ask me. I want to hear your thought on breaking that down. But first, let me see what Jorge wrote here. He wrote maybe sooner Poirier didn't have the scratch from that fight. Maybe sooner. Yeah, he didn't get a scratch. You're right, Jorge. He's fresh. You know how these UFC fighters, they're not boxing fans. They're not boxing athletes. They get right back into the ring. A couple weeks later, and they go right into it. So we saw. A couple. Was it Kevin? What was his name? Kevin Holland, or that fought 5 fights last year?
Yeah. Holland fought like 5 fights in 7 months, and then total, I think it was 6 fights in like basically a year. Is it 6 fights a year? No, like 6 or 7 in a total in a year. So a 12-month calendar.
Yeah,
something like that.
Calendar. So you see that they're willing to get in there, and even if they get that, they got right back into it. And like my partner Hector says, it was the best fight of his that night in his opinion. Yeah, Gilbert is a beast. The Gilbert and Wonder Boy. What do you think? What are you on that co-main event? I would like to hear your thoughts on that, Austin.
At the beginning, it was slow. Like I get what the crowd was booing. It was unjust. I mean, the fight. Whole main card was great. You could say they were all spoiled, but same time, in the beginning, it seemed like Gilbert was more so like trying to just he took him down, but he wasn't like doing anything with it. He wasn't going for submissions. He wasn't trying to hit him in the first round. I'm talking about early on when he took him down. But then later on, like in the final 10 seconds, he started going for strikes and strikes, and and then the second round picked up the action. Excuse me. And I know when he took him down again the second round, that's when he started going for more strikes. And there was a scene where it was like 10 seconds left. Gilbert had him like near the cage side, and they're both like punching each other. Like Wonder Boy was down on the mat near the cage, and Gilbert was on top of his position. They're just punching each other. It was kind of a cool visual. Obviously, I can't emulate because I'm it's on one person. It's gonna look stupid if I try. And I know Wonder Boy did win I think the third round. That's the round they gave Wonder Boy because Wonder Boy hit him with some shots. He even rocked him with a kick that did hit him just enough to get wobbled. When Gilbert did hit back, but Gilbert knew I got to take him down. And that's the thing I said. If Gilbert can take Wonder Boy down, that would be Gilbert's fight. I think I said that, and it proved to be true. Gilbert is a great jiu-jitsu practitioner, even though he can go for submissions. I think personally maybe he could have gone for maybe submitted Wonder Boy possibly if he went for it. That's just me because, Gilbert's one of the top jiu-jitsu practitioners in all of the 170-pound division and of MMA, really. But, yeah, great fight with Gilbert. Bounce-back victory for him considering, he lost the title fight to Usman. Now Gilbert, all he needs is one more victory, and he can maybe get another title fight. It'd be interesting who he matched up with. Maybe him, Leon Edwards. That would be a pretty good matchup. A title eliminator with those two. I think winner of that fight definitely should fight the welterweight 170 champion. Or maybe he fights the winner of Makhachev and Vincenzo Luque, who are to find the next pay-per-view in August, which we'll break that down as we get closer to that fight. Potentially, whoever wins that fight should fight. Gilbert could fight them. I know Gilbert called Jorge Masvidal, which is possible. Maybe they might fight potentially, but it'd be interesting to see. And for Wonder Boy, Wonder Boy, it might be his last title chance. It might be his last opportunity to fight for the world title, considering he is 38 and he has fought for the world title twice. And his loss did hurt his momentum. And like I say, he's older. And if you're like you always say, if you're under 205 or middleweight and like older, the lighter weight you are, if you're older, the more your skills go down. It's hard to be a world champion, world class fighter in the lower weight classes. You know what I mean?
Right, I agree on that one. That I agree on with that point. With that, we'll see. I saw Jorge Masvidal was in arena. When he called him out, he was part of the festivities there, taking a court ringside and watching the view. Me, I'm a huge Jorge Masvidal fan. I'm a big fan of his. I want him to get back in there, and get back to his basic and start kicking butt and being the bad MSM champion that he is. And we'll see how that goes with him, Masvidal, and we'll see if he fights Burns. We'll see how if they bring that up, and it brings us to the heavyweight bout between Hardy and Tuivasa. Man, I think my opinion. I think that's it for Greg Hardy. I think Hardy is done.
In terms of what?
I don't think I think UFC might not even continue give him fights, or he'll be on some, or they'll bury him on some deep prelims. I don't see him getting a sniff of a co-main event or right before the main co-main event, or even in the prelims main event. I think he's going to be like an afterthought until he starts getting put a couple of impressive wins in a row with him. I know a lot of people like to see him fail and lose but he's trying to restart his career, restart everything. But let's see what happens with that. What's your opinion on that one?
Well, the thing with that fight is Greg Hardy made a rookie mistake, the mistake that you're not supposed to do. So if you remember, he rocked Tai Tuivasa, but then he rushed in recklessly to get Tai and to go after Tai Tuivasa. And I mentioned 10 of his 11 victories were knockouts for Tai, and he just caught him flat as he was running in. And if you run into a punch, especially if you're not paying attention, you tend to get knocked out, especially heavyweight where guys got power. And that's what he just made the rookie mistake, which I think Greg did admit on social media afterwards that he messed up by that. But Yeah, that was his bit. That's what really hurt him. Matt was just rushing in and gets a guy with power, which you should never do, and that's how he got knocked out. And Greg Hardy, I don't think his career's over in UFC. I think it's far from it because he's proven he can win fights, back-to-back fights. I think Greg Hardy, he's in a good gym with, down in South Florida with Rashad Evans and I don't know, and Sanford MMA. And if you're going with that gym, I think he could definitely hopefully develop the tools to probably mature as a fighter, develop and be able to fight at pace, not too recklessly, to where he could potentially, be a guy who maybe he's a top contender in UFC. I'm not, we'll wait and see. I mean, maybe he might be buried in the prelims. Man, not too deep because he is a name. I mean, he's great. Former All-Pro NFL player. He attracts a certain audience. People do know who he is. Obviously, if he keeps winning, it's going to help. Losing doesn't help at all. But well, we'll see. Maybe they'll give him an easier fight considering he's fought Tate, who also is ranked number 12, who was 12. And, he's now 12-3. And it's won his last 4 fights now. And then before that was Tabora, who was on a roll, who's now won like 5 in a row or 6 out of 7 now. So maybe if they give him someone that's not like on a roll, maybe he can bounce back. But excuse me, but we'll see. And for Tai Vuyasa, since he is the winner of the fight, I like to see him fight top 10 heavyweight, obviously. Maybe Alexander Volkov potentially. I think that'll be a fun fight. Or maybe it's Jairzinho Rosenstruck for Tai Vuyasa. Because Ty looked like one. He had that 3-fight skip, but then, like I said, he won 3 in a row going this fight. Now he's won 4 in a row, and Ty is from Australia, and Australia's been a big market for the UFC, especially a lot of the biggest shows in terms of crowd attendance. We're all in Australia, so MMA and UFC is really popular down under. It'd be great to have another Australian guy, rise to the ranks, considering how well that market is for them. And plus, he's got fun personality, knockout power. He even does that. I fucking hate that shoey, the disgusting, nasty ass shoey, which you saw the abomination that is to society. That disgusting thing, but I'm not gonna harp on it.
That's unorthodox. Yeah, that's a little bit in these times with remember, guys, COVID-19 is out there. Wear your mask. Do your it's coming around again. Get your vaccines if you believe in getting the vaccines. Wash your hands. Do social distancing still. Even if you want to continue, please continue wearing a mask for the others. Be considerate. Let's nip this in the bud. Let's not have these strands of COVID-19 come back again, and let's be cautious. Let's we know we're gonna get through this. We're getting back together, but unfortunately, this COVID-19 different strands are trying to mutate and return. So, as a public service announcement, let's do our thing. Let's do our part individually to stop the spread of the COVID-19 and all different strands. So the hygiene is the main important thing out of all of this. And yeah, and speaking of the hygiene, I wasn't fond of him drinking alcohol or beer in this case out of any random person's shoe. I mean, it is kind of familiar. People sweat and it's kind of unorthodox. I guess that's what separates him and makes him novelty.
It's an Australia thing. Apparently, some people in Australia do it. It's like somewhat popular down under. It's
okay, well, we'll find that out because maybe tomorrow when I see CT or if CT comes on a little later, if he wants to get involved, we'll ask him about that weird custom because he's our correspondent from down under that comes on Nick's Real Talk. He's always there. The streets are buzzing. A shout out to him and shout out to I actually before we run, I want to give a shout out to our main man Spree. We're thinking about you. I know you took a time off, for the season is off and taking care of your business, but hey, man, I know you listen to the streams, and I know you're out there, and I know we're thinking about you, buddy, and I know you're out there, Spree, and we can't wait to have you come back on Nick's Real Talk, and maybe visit me down here in Bronx Jedi Sports Network as well, and to continue having our chats, man. We become family and we come talking to you, and we haven't forgotten about you. That's our message to you, and I appreciate you listening to us, Spree, and yeah. So back to the cards, Austin. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to talk to women's fight. Irina Aldana with bounce back performance against Yana Kunitskaya. I have a hard time sometimes East European names. I thought I'll get used to them. I mean, Aldana, I think she broke. I don't know if she broke Kunitskaya's nose. I think she did. Could be wrong, but she just picked her apart for her boxing and finished her in the first round. In the for like a few seconds, like four. I think like within less than a minute left to go in the first round. I do remember that. And like I said, it's great for her considering she was on a roll before her last fight. Not this one, the one before against Holly Holm, where she didn't have a great performance. It was heavily criticized, and rightfully so, because because it looked like she got lost in the moments. Where here, in this big moment, with on a Conor McGregor pay-per-view, she stepped up and was able to use her boxing well and got the bounce-back victory. And maybe it's the fact that Brand Moreno's first Mexican-born champion in the UFC seems like it's lit a fire under Mexican fighters to go out there and have great performances. It gives them inspiration, hope that maybe they can be a champion too. So I'm interested to see. And congratulations to her. I think she got one of the performance bonuses because she really had one of the better performances that night. Speaking of performance bonuses, we can talk about the first fight of the card, Sean O'Malley against Chris Mutano. Mutano. I mean, I didn't think he's gonna last that long. That shocked me because I thought Mutano had his 2-2 in the last 4 in the regional scene, late replacement, but that kid got hard. That's what he got, and a tough chin. I mean, O'Malley I think he threw the most significant strikes in a 3-round fight in UFC history, something crazy. O'Malley's got power too. I mean, he's locked a lot of dudes out, and he just kept picking him apart, punching him and hurting him. And he dropped and almost finished in the first round, but Mutano survived the second round, and even to the third round before Herb Dean stopped it, which I did not agree with at all. I thought it was a bad stoppage. I mean, yes, he took a lot of damage, but he still kept going forward. It wasn't like he was wobbly and about doing this or on verge of collapsing. He still was going forward, trying to fight. It's just, he still was. And my thing is, if you're gonna stop it there, you could have easily stopped after the first round. Because you remember after the first round, he was wobbly and not in there, Mutano. And you could have stopped it then. I mean, you didn't. Even though here in third round, he still was actively trying to fight, even though he was losing, even though Sean O'Malley was on his way to a clear-cut decision victory. And Sean O'Malley looks great. I mean, Sean O'Malley's, very has a lot of great skills. Now, it'd be interesting to see if he still step up a competition. I mean, he did call several guys, who are ranked ahead of him. I mean, I wouldn't mind maybe a Dominic Cruz in him, maybe not Raw Font, but I'm trying Cody. Well, maybe not Cody Garbrandt, considering how the rankings work with Cody. But maybe Pedro Munoz, if he were to does he have a fight coming up? I'm trying to remember. Someone like Pedro Munoz, he doesn't have a fight coming up, maybe, or Frankie Edgar, maybe. That'd be a fun fight. Frankie Edgar and Sean O'Malley potentially. But yeah, Sean O'Malley definitely, showing that he has potential to be a top 10 contender. Like I said, Chris Mutano, tough, very, very tough, has heart. It does have some skills. Like to see him get another fight in UFC to prove himself. Maybe more time to prepare and not someone that's on a roll like Sean O'Malley.
I agree with that. So you see that those are his upcoming potential fights there. I do want to talk about the main event of the prelims. Griffin and Conduit was a good fight, man. To close out the main event of the prelim, I thought it was a pretty good fight. Even the Price and Polera, they were really good all in all around. On every fight from the early prelims to all the way, it was a really good card. 264 was very impressive. Very, very good. And I want to salute the City for real, my main man, City. Man, we're hoping that we get Darth City on here to the Sports Jedi Network, man, one of these days. We miss seeing him. The Jedis wanna talk to Darth Sidious, man. Hopefully he come out one of these days, City. Salute to everyone out there, everyone that's joining us. And what do you want to do? What's your opinion on the co-main event of the prelims? Actually, the main event. Excuse me.
I didn't get to see, unfortunately. Most of the prelims I unfortunately missed, so I didn't get to see it. The only one I saw was the Ryan Hall and I'm butchering his name. I apologize. His opponent won. I should know his name. I'm so
Topuria.
Gotta give him credit. Topuria, I mean, I'm surprised. I didn't know. First of all, I forgot that he was undefeated going into this fight. 10-0. Now 11-0. He did, Ryan Hall had been in a row. Doesn't get submitted, and then he got knocked out. And then within with less than a minute to go in that first round, he tried to pull him guard, but didn't work. And Topuria finished him and they will knock him out. And good for him, Topuria. I mean, he's 11-0 now. It looks like a legitimate prospect, 145. That division gets deeper, very good. I mean, that's one of the more underrated divisions in all of MMA. Yeah, 145 is very underrated. No one gives that enough credit. Everyone talks about 155, and it's great, but look at 145. I mean, those guys are just as talented as the 155. We got to remember deeper. I mean, that's another conversation for another day we can have about which division is deeper in MMA. But yeah, and good for him. The Georgian, and when I mean Georgia, I mean the country, not the state Georgia. People get that confused. So,
Right,
so
right.
yeah,
That's the country in Eastern Europe of Georgia. Yes.
yeah.
And
But yeah,
let me ask you this with before we wrap up the 264 and go into the upcoming weekend fights coming up. All in all, do you? I know you didn't see the early prelims, and I know you saw some of the prelims, but from the card spec, do you think this has been one of the best pay per view of the night of the year so far, 264, or do you think, as of right now, we still got 6 months left of the year to have the card, but as of right now, you think it's in the leaderboard?
I don't know, that Jacksonville card was pretty damn good if you remember. I mean, when they returned, I mean, despite the Wyman injury, which is awful. I mean, that sucks, especially as a Chris Wyman fan. But even if you're not a Chris Wyman fan, that still sucks to see. But you also, if you remember, yeah, the Jimmy Crew and Anthony Smith fight was good. Crew got injured at the end, unfortunately, with that weird leg injury. Not as bad as Wyman's, but still still pretty bad. And he kept on fighting until the bell until the end of the round. Then his foot couldn't continue because of his foot problems. Then you also had the three title fights, which were entertaining. I mean, Valentin Shevchenko, dominated Jessica Andrade in that fight. Had probably best forms of her career. Then you had Rose knocking out Weili Zhang in a minute, like I think 2 minutes in the first round. Then you had Usman knocking out Jorge, unfortunately, in the second round. But I say, I mean, Jacksonville card was arguably just as good as this one. I mean, it's the debate between these two, really. Take your pick. Which one would you prefer?
Right, I agree because I think when the year in review, well, we still got a lot of MMA fighting. We still got a lot of cards to go before we consider the best card of the year. But as of right now, I did take for granted the Jacksonville card was really invigorating and very captivating fight card, and this one too was really good because I guess since I watched the whole thing from the early prelims but I was going back and forth with the Euro Cup and the Copa America and back and forth with the different games before the Houston and the Yankee game. So I back and forth, but there was a lot of knockouts in this one. If you liked it, if you was a sports fan last Saturday and last weekend, man, you had it from everywhere, the yin and the yang, from basketball to baseball to fighting and all that. And then this weekend looks like it's going to be another a slobber knocker of sports related. I know tomorrow night it's going to start off with if you have Showtime, we're going to have the Bellator Flyweight Championship with the ladies, Velasquez and Key Holtz. Austin, what's your thoughts on this fight? Go ahead.
It's interesting. This is Juliana Vasquez's first title defense after being a Leo May McFarland back in, I think this. I want to say this. I think it was December, or was it? Yeah, it was December, and that surprised me because I thought Leo May, Leo May was undefeated going to this fight. So is Julia Vasquez. So that fight was someone who had to go. Juliana won, and Vasquez looks like someone who potentially be maybe a long term champion. Maybe I'm not saying she will be, but Holtz does have an advantage, can stand up because she's a former kickboxer with 18-2 kickboxing record. Kia Holtz, excuse me. So it'll be interesting to see if Vasquez can not make this a striking kickboxing fight because if Vasquez can't take her down, get or make it uncomfortable for Kia Holtz probably has to probably pick her apart and maybe finish her potentially. Who knows? So that's definitely excitement there. And also the co-main event, you got Mammoth Shown and fighting, which if someone's watching UFC for a long time, go back to Ultimate Fighter. Matt Michionne's there, so that'd be something for for a long time MMA fan to enjoy. I mean, so yeah, you got Bellator. You used to mention Friday night and also Saturday night, which is the UFC card back in Apex. And if it's Islam Makhachev and Thiago Moises, the main event, correct?
It is, yes, Isaiah Markovic and Tego Moises. Yes, they're gonna fight for the light. It's a lightweight bout. That's number Moises is ninth and
19-1.
Moises and I know, and actually Moises is ranked 14th in the UFC. Um, what are your thoughts on that main event? That's a real good card there. Both Islam is 19-1. Moises is 15-4 and 0. Their last both coming off a win. One is from Russia, the other one's from Brazil. Both are there is no the height advantage. I'm giving you the tail of the tape. 5'10", 5'9", both at 155. They have the same amount of reach, 70.5 inches, and they all have the same leg reach. It's pretty much all even. Fight all around. It looks like it's going to be a good fight because it looks like they're both evenly matched here. With a lot of implementation of who's going to move up in this division. And keep going forward. What's your thought on that main event?
Well, I'm very excited because even though for some reason I thought Dillashaw saying it was this week, even though it was next week for some odd reason, but I am excited to see Islam Makhachev because I am a big Islam Makhachev fan because I do believe this is his division, that he is going to be the one end of the day who will rule this division. Because for those of you who don't know, he's Habib's training partner, his main sparring partner. A lot of ways, his protege, even though he's only a few years younger than him, and those two have known each other since they were like children back in Dagestan, Russia, and Islam is 19-1. I mean, the guy has great ground grappling, but his striking is better than Habib's. That's the one thing that you may have over Habib's, the striking aspect. But his grappling is very good. He's a combat sambo champion, which a lot of those guys are very good at sambo, which is like a Russian martial art involving grappling and striking as well. Mostly grappling and based in Russia, and in other Eastern European countries they practice it too, but it's based in Russia. And Moises is, like I said, 15-4. He's been on a roll lately. I forget his winning streak. I don't know why. I'm apologize for forgetting stuff tonight. But Moises, tends to be more of a stand-up fighter who's probably gonna want to make it more like a dirty boxing fight and try and make get in Islam's face, put pressure on him because that's probably his best way of winning. Whereas if Islam controls the pace and is able to grapple with him and grapple him to death and take him down like he did with Drew Dober, I mean, Moses is going to have a tough time Saturday night. And I do think Islam's going to win personally. Probably the decision because I don't. No, is it possible Islam beats him later rounds? Possible, but I think Thiago Moises is tough enough to where I'd be impressed if Islam's able to finish Moises, Thiago Moises. But yeah, I like Islam in this fight, and I'm pretty sure he's the betting favorite, as he probably should be. And like I said, I do think this is the beginning of his title push. His push to the top championship, obviously being Thiago Moises, and maybe find someone top 10 afterwards. But it's MMA. We'll see Saturday night because you never know with MMA. Things change. Hello. So looks like technical difficulties. I apologize for that. Technology sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
for that little technical difficulty. Thanks for holding it down there.
Sorry, I'm a little technical difficulties. Our apologies for that. It looks like there's some bad weather here, unfortunately, in Central Florida at the moment. And
we are back on. Yes. Okay, Austin. We'll go to the second fight of that night. It's going to be Miesha Tate returning to the ring against Marion Reneau. Go ahead and break that down.
It's a compelling fight considering Marion Reneau announced her retirement prior to her getting whoever fight a few months ago she announced that her next fight will be her last fight, and obviously this is gonna be her last fight going against Miesha Tate, who's returning after retiring 5 years ago back in UFC 205 in November 2016. Now Miesha Tate's former bantamweight champion. She's done it all. She's making a comeback after 5 years. It'd be interesting to see if potentially hang on. Sorry about the technical difficulties. I don't know why it's acting up tonight. But like I was saying, Miesha Tate, it'd be interesting to see how she looks after 5 years off. Is she going to be slower than usual? Has the game changed so much to where she's going to be stuck in the past? Where Marion Reneau, even though the record may not look like the best, but she's never been dominated in a fight. Yeah, she's lost, but she never gets destroyed or beat up in a fight ever. She usually holds her own typically. And she probably wants to go out with a win because no one wants to go out on a loss. I mean, now granted, people might plan not to lose in the last fight, but sometimes they lose anyway, unfortunately. But I'm pretty sure Marion's going to train this fight like it is the most important fight of her life. She's fighting a former world champion in Miesha Tate, and being Miesha Tate would definitely be her greatest accomplishment in the sport. And Miesha Tate, I mean, Well, like I said, it seems like she's in this for a long haul. Like she actually wants to fight multiple times, not just do one and done. Now, people have talked about her potentially fighting Amanda Nunes again. Obviously, Misha mentioned she wants to take the long routes, rightfully so, because Misha Tate did lose her title to Amanda Nunes back in UFC 200, and Amanda's held it since. But obviously, like I said, the long route, Misha, first of all, Misha just get by Amanda Reneau and probably take the long route if she even gets close to fighting Amanda Nunes. And I don't know who to pick in this fight, honestly. It's a pick 'em. I mean, to me, I'm going to go Mary Reneau just because she's been active. That's probably the only reason why I'll pick her in this case. Although, would I be surprised Misha wins? Not really, but the inactivity definitely hurts Misha in this case.
Yeah, there's gonna be some fight. There's gonna be some octagon rust in Misha Tate's game, and then if Moranis is she's gonna finish her career, and that's gonna be her last fight. She's gonna go all out. So let's see if they're gonna loosen their hands and go all out and go crazy. And we'll see. That's going to be an entertaining fight, a co-main event. That's going to be really entertaining. They want to give her all the good glory and all the accolades for her retiring and also the return of Misha Tate. She's also a female that brings names and brings eyeballs to the octagon, and we'll see if everything goes according to fruition and it becomes a good card. They give us a good fight. Saturday night, and then we have the lightweight bout between Jeremy Stevens and Matus Gromat, if am I pronouncing that name correctly? And that's going to be a battle too. That's before the co-main event. Those two guys are going to go at it. What are your thoughts on that, Austin, on that fight?
It'd be interesting to see where Jeremy Stevens' career because I don't know too much of his opponent, Granat, to be honest with you, so I'm not gonna comment too much because I can't bring in X and O's unfortunately because I haven't seen his other opponent fight to make a claim. But I know his opponent, I believe, is 18-1. I believe I could be wrong about that record. I
No, you're
probably should
correct.
double check.
No,
18 and 1.
and a one no contest, and he's coming off of a win of his last fight, and he's from Poland. He's a 5'10" fighter. Both weighing in at 155. They both have the same 71-inch vertical reach, and they both actually Gromad has a 79-inch leg advantage reach, where Jeremy Stevens is 38 and a half. Jeremy Stevens' record is 28-18, with no draws and one no contest, and he's coming off of a loss his last fight. But
Cavalcade.
yeah, so we'll see how that is. He's 18-1. Can Gromat make a statement by winning the game? His nickname is the Gamer. Can the Gamer make a statement and try to he's 18-1 and an opportunity to put his name in the hat of a title contention?
Well, definitely. I mean, potentially give himself in the rankings more so. Definitely being Jeremy Stevens. Although it's weird, Jeremy Stevens recently has been a featherweight for most of his career, for the last stretch of his career. And I believe he fought 155 at one point, but now let's go back to lightweight, which which is very interesting to see. Maybe the weight cuts become hard for him as he gets older. Because some guys, the longer you fight, the harder it gets to cut weight. But I know he's 28-18, but he's fought a lot of the best of the best. Like, look at the guys he's fought. He's fought like the who's who of guys from RDA to Aldo to Max Holloway. I think Charles Oliveira back in the day. He fought. There's a Carl Lamas, and some of them he beat actually. Believe it or not, he's like his record. People. Obviously he's lost his last four, if I'm not mistaken. But a lot of that's too, the elite. I mean, Calvin Cater, his last fights, he got a vicious elbow, which is brutal. But Calvin Cater is one of the top, featherweights. Although he come off his, loss to Max Holloway, but still one of the elite featherweights to watch out for. Then he lost like Rodriguez, Jose Aldo, and got and Zabit, Merrick Shapov. I always butcher his name, which is called Zabit. But yeah. Definitely. But Stevens has always been a gamer. Usually Stevens he's either there to get beat to kill or to be killed. Basically, he's never gonna have a terrible performance where he doesn't try. He's always one of the more exciting fighters. And like I said, we'll see with where Jeremy's at and where Guido. Does that say his name?
Gurmat.
Gurmat. I'm sorry, Gurmat. We'll see where.
We could call him. Let's call him the Gamer, so we don't continue
Yeah.
pushing his. It's Masuz Gurmat, but we'll call him his nickname is the Gamer. So we'll call him the Gamer, so we don't continue butchering his name, and apologize to him if there and or his handlers or his fans that are out there and that we are not pronouncing his name correctly. So we'll call him by his nickname, which is the Gamer.
The Gamer, yeah. Like I said, give me some time. I'll be able to memorize his name. Polish names are somewhat easy for me, believe it or it's some weird thing. Like I remember I met Joanna Jędrzejczyk, and like I was the only one that got her last name right, while everyone else kept butchering her name back in back at a UFC event in South Florida. But yeah. Like, I'm interested. I'm excited to see Saturday, where these 3 fights are definitely exciting to watch. You got the Bellator, the women's flyweight title fight, and it's great night for MMA. Busy night, busy weekend rather. Excuse me.
Let me ask you a question. Any other fights on the card to keep an eye out for us fighting fans? Hey, keep an eye out for this fight. It might be interesting. You got Rodolfo Barrera, Dustin Flotz. If I'm butchering his name wrong, I apologize. Gabrielo Benitez, Billy Quintano. They're fighting in that featherweight bout. You also got Amanda Lamosa versus Mostras Ruiz. If I'm that's a ladies fight. I'm looking at the co-main event: Daniel Rodriguez, Preston Parson. Any names there? I also Anderson Dos Santos is gonna fight against Miles Johns. Francisco Figueroa versus Malcolm Gordon. Those are the cards there on the fight night from the, like you said, the Apex. Any names, any fight stands out, or just wait and see. We'll see how it goes. Nothing really to get to us fight fans too excited. It's just fights to see guys' opportunity to try to move up in the UFC.
Probably, yeah, a little bit of that. I mean, hang on. Let me just check. Wait.
Sure.
Probably Daniel. Let me see. I'm trying to.
The Daniel Rodriguez and Preston
probably. Yeah, especially Daniel Rodriguez. He seems like a guy. I've seen some of his fights. I know he beat Mike Perry in his last fight in April. Rodriguez is definitely a guy to keep an eye out for potentially. We'd like to see maybe if he can be a contender, possibly.
Well, he's fighting Preston Person, who's making his UFC debut. He has no records right now. Daniel Rodriguez coming off a win. He's 14-2-0. Right now, according to the tail of the tape, Rodriguez is a bit taller than his opponent. I have no idea who Preston Parson is. He's making his debut. Everything seems even. The reach, the weight. Just that he has a 2-inch of height advantage over the unknown opponent. But we don't know what's going to happen there going forward with that. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how that fight goes. We'll see how that. And one that I want to see, I get how do you pronounce her first name, Austin? Her name is Gonji Rodriguez. What's it? Mosereta Ruiz. And she's fighting Amanda Lemos. They both are 19-1. I mean, excuse me, 9-1 and 10-1. They're altogether 19 fights.
I forgot. I've heard her name pronounced. She's Mexican. I know that.
Yes. The Mexican fighter from let's see if she could. She's currently ranked. She's not ranked. She's unranked. She's not 10-1, and she's fighting a 14-ranked Amanda Lemos. We'll see how that goes. They're both 115 pounds each. The Amanda has a longer reach. She's much taller, 5'4" to 5 feet. Mexican fighter. We'll see, because she's been coveted and they're trying to push her for a little bit of a time, but we'll see if she could get in there and start fighting. And see if it's for the women's straw. It's a women's strawweight bout. And we'll see what concurs on that.
Yeah, that's easily the best women's division of MMA, the 115-pound UFC. That's the most exciting one. So you actually got a ranked fighter. It'd be interesting to see. They always tend to do well. I mean, the best women fights typically are the strawweights. It usually is. That's just how it is in MMA, especially in UFC by far. It's not even a debate. So that could be a sleeper fight to watch out for. Maybe Ruiz gets wins a impressive victory and moves up the rankings, or Amanda Lemos defends her ranking and maybe sets her up for possibly fighting a ranked opponent next. Excuse me. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. So there's two. Yeah, so that's a fight looking for in the prelims. So there's some hidden gems. Sometimes these UFC fights cards you gotta look at and see some hidden gems. because there are times where they do have some hidden gems. There's other times where it's just not a great card. And if I don't think it's a great card, I'm just gonna be real. I know sometimes they don't want to get to mad when fans criticize these cards, but can't blame them. I mean, we expect great cards. I mean, we don't like boxing where boxing has shitty cards. Let's just be honest. You may have a decent main event, but the rest of the cards like who? And
Right,
this is
right.
actually and that's actually a good. This is a good card, by the way. Actually a good, solid, nice card coming. Following the UFC 264. So definitely, I'm excited for this fight card.
Yeah, it is going to be a good card. Maybe the prelims might be lacking a little bit of a jolt, that they might need. Maybe the prelims are the ones that are. But hey, this is MMA. You never know. The prelims might end up being the best part of the whole card. With that said, and with that said, we'll wait for the following week and we'll break that down. We all know, unfortunately, this fight has been postponed due to COVID-19. It's now scheduled for October 9th, if I'm not mistaken. We were looking forward to seeing Wilder Fury 3 with the for the title belt, WBC title belt, but now that has been pushed back. Phil Fury has tested positive for the COVID-19 virus. We've seen it starting to make its round. The COVID-19 virus, different strands, even if you're vaccinated, it's still mutating different strands of the virus, and it's starting to reappear. And now it's getting into the sports world and causing a little bit of a delay. But we've seen that with Tyson Fury. So now October. But we all know we still got another fight this weekend. We'll talk about it right now. This Saturday night, you got Charlo, super welterweight champion for the unification belt against undefeated Castillo. That's going to be from Jerry's World, AT&T Center. Excuse me, from the AT&T Center. And man, that is going to be a good fight. The Charlo brothers are right now boxing's darning fight or brothers pairs. It's a unification 154 world title. And Jermell Charlo looks to make boxing history when he defends his WBA, IBF super welterweight against an undefeated WBO champion. Brian Castaño from Spain, from Argentina, and he's undisputed. And man, that's most highly anticipated match. Jermaine is 34 and 1 and 0, and Brian is 17-0 and 1. Jermaine has 18 ways of knockouts wins by the way of knockout, and Brian Castellano is 12 by the way of knockout. So that's going to be a good fight. They both are orthodox boxers. Both at the same age, at 31 years old. That is right now. It's the cream of the cream in that division. To see those two unification belt, it's going to be phenomenal, Austin. It's going to be great. I can't wait for that fight. You know me that I like boxing as well as the mixed martial arts. But me, I tend to sway from to boxing because I'm an older relic, if you want to say that love boxing, and my ties are closer more to boxing than UFC. But I still cover. I love UFC as well. But I go tend to boxing, and then you have some more fights. You got an unbeaten interweight WBA lightweight champion in Rolando Rolly Romero. He'll take on the 135-pound contender Anthony Yagit. Yagit replaces Austin Dule, who was originally scheduled to fight Romero, but he was forced to withdraw because he was injured. So here comes this last minute opponent, Anthony Yagit. He's 24-1-1. Not too much power in those 24 bouts. He has 8 of them by the way of knockouts. But Rolando Romero is 13-0. He's undefeated, but out of those 13 victories, 11 come by knockout. So this kid has power, Romero. They both at 100, weight. They're both at 135 pounds, both around the same weight. The orthodox from Romero and southpaw stands from Yagit. Yagit, when it's southpaw, tends to be a little bit of a comfortable fight, but it's for especially a young, inexperienced fighter. He only has 13 bouts under his wing. He's 20. Romero is 25 years old, and Yagit is 29. So last minute on a southpaw fighter doesn't have too much power, so that's a little bit of an ease for Romero to fight, and that could give him a little bit of a comfort, get comfortable there, and get some experience. That's a good fight. And then the final fight of the night there in that card, you got unbeaten middleweight Ascar Valdel meets veteran contender Emmanuel Alim in a 10-round. It's a telecast opener. It's an opener to for ranking. Both of the Vidal is 12-0. He has 11 of his victories come by knockout. So Vidal, it's got some power. So you got to be careful there. You know, he's 91% of his fights are by he ends the fights by knockouts. You know, the veteran that he has out of the 18, 2-2, Alim, and he has 11 of those come by knockout. So these are two guys that could let the hands loose and got power. So there's going to be a good fight in the middleweight division. And they're both coming in, both orthodox fighters. They're both 25. Vidal's 25. Alim is 27, but Alim has been has more fights under his belt with a little more experience. So that's going to be an interesting card for on Saturday night. You guys check it out. Showtime Boxing. You know, this is the season. Boxing season is in full effect. You had some good fights prior to this weekend, and we continue having some more good fights though. But I appreciate everybody on with us this evening. From I want to give shout out thanks to Frank Matos, to CT, to M Rosario, Camilio, to Divine. I know he's driving. He's traveling across town there. We'll still have another segment. Hopefully, he'll come in and say hello. Now we'll come on Nick's Real Talk. He's on his way on traveling, and he's taking care of his business. And Julio, thank you to Jorge Puente. We thank you to Project Nerd Hector, to Frank Matos, to City for Real, my main guy. And thanks for everyone that's been part of the chat. Chris as well. Chris, I know you wanted to come out as a panelist, but I had to open close panelist for a moment with Austin for the UFC. But you're more than welcome if you return it, because we're going to be wrapping up pretty soon. We're just going to make it a quick talk. We just wanted to talk some UFC and a little boxing, and then I'm just going to real quickly talk about the New York, real quick, Austin. I'm going to talk about the New York Yankees. Stay with me in this segment. We'll talk about the New York Yankees. The game was postponed this evening, and the series might be postponed. The series might be postponed in general due to the COVID outbreak. A couple players have tested positive. A couple players been on the COVID-19 list. Hector Cortez. You got a couple players. Nestor Cortez.
Judge.
Aaron Judge now is on the list. Wow.
I heard. I could be wrong.
I know it was a player that was at the All-Star game. They said. Gleyber Torres tested again. There was a false positive on Gleyber Torres again. But it's the Yankees are 87. They were 87% vaccinated, and they tested again. Remember, they had an outbreak really bad early in May with Phil Nevin, Gleyber Torres, and so forth. But they have another outbreak. Major League Baseball has suspended tonight's game, possibly tomorrow's game as well. I don't see them getting that game in there either. I think they'll be making that up later down the road. It was a pivotal part, important part of the schedule for the New York Yankees to get into it, because they had the next 13 games was really crucial to see if they were going to keep adding more. And they were playing the Red Sox, the Tampa Bay Rays. They were playing the Philadelphia Phillies in between, and back again to the Red Sox. They had a chance to make some ground, and now it starts off. It gives more rest for Garrett Cole, the bullpen, and maybe Aroldis Chapman's finger to heal from the lost nail and all that good stuff, and get his head together. And we'll see. It's very important if they need to really come out here with these 13 games, maybe go 9-4 or 10-3 to at least get back into it. You could make up some ground, and then you have the second half of the season to try to get reinforcement. They were making some moves. They were calling up some of their young players. They had them under the minor leaguers. They were going to call both minor leaguers that are hitting over 300, an outfielder, Brewery, and they were going to call to the Asian American player. They were going to bring him up to play second base to play. They were going to make some moves. They were going to bring some youth. They were going to inject some youth, and they still do. But right now with the COVID issue, hopefully that gets situated. Go forward, and it doesn't affect them physically or fatigue wise, and they get back into it, because now is when they got to really lace up their boots, get there, go rolling, and roll up their sleeves and make up some ground. And this is the chance. These 13 games, if they don't make, because then after the 13 game stretch, they got another batch of 13 games with some really bad teams that he could beat up on. So if you come out smelling good and you beat these teams that you're supposed to get up ground, then you go into your weaker belly of the schedule, and then you could continue to feast and get on a roll. And there I say, be in command, win maybe 2 games, 1 game out of the wild card, or even a couple games out of the division going into late April, early September, and now you're really cooking. You keep the fans invigorated. the season, and people's jobs won't be on the line or costing their jobs. So this is a tough stretch for the New York Yankees coming up. I think they're ready. I think they'll be ready to task and ready for it. Also, a lot of futures game. You got Dominguez played the futures game. A couple Yankee pitchers were elevated. They have a plethora of young pitchers in the Class A, Double A ball in the Tampa Bay Terrapins, and they got a lot of different other young prospects making their debut, being elevated. Yankees are making moves with the youth, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes in there. With that, Austin, with the Yankees, we'll be interested there. I'll just let me add Chris in so we can say hello real quick. Chris, how are you, Chris? Chris, are you there with us? Hello, Chris. Are you there with us, Chris?
Hello, Chris. I think you're muted.
Chris, you're muted. You're good with us? You're with us? All right. Kiss is not with us. We'll hopefully his situation gets fixed, and we'll bring him on as soon as he's ready to come on and say hello to us here. We appreciate Chris for coming on. Appreciate him jumping on the panel with us. And appreciate him being part of us here this evening. And we see with the Yankees, that's a tough stretch, man. They got to get into it. If not, the season will be dire straight. Will be lost, and jobs will be on the line. The Yankees find themselves 8 games out of the division. They've been a 500 team in the last 10 games. Although they take advantage that the Red Sox have also been 500 and the Rays have been 6-4. But that bad taste that they had in Houston, regardless of the fact that they took 2 out of 3 from the Houston Astros, which was good. It was positive, but that last game just, you had that's such a big lead in there, and then you lose it out there. Let's see if Chris could say hi again.
Hey
Chris,
guys, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Chris. How are you, man? Glad for you to come by and say hello with us here at the program.
Hey, Jedi, I got a quick question for you and your son.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a big LA Dodgers fan from Oklahoma because I got the minor league team here. Do
Okay.
you think the Dodgers can make another one at winning the World Series? And I think the New York Knicks could get the guy out of Tennessee. I can't remember his name right off. But
Let me answer the Dodger question first, Chris. The Los Angeles Dodgers, I think they will have an opportunity to contend to defend their crown, their World Series title. They have a good team. The only thing that worries me, Chris, is the Trevor Bauer situation. He's on administrative leave, and I don't think he's coming back, man. I think his major league career might be over. Despite the fact, and I don't want to get into the because there's still the court of opinion, and you still got to go through the process, the legal process. But it doesn't look good, Chris. It doesn't look good, even though it says it's consensual and all that. I don't think he'll make it back this season, and I don't think he'll even play for the Dodgers. But one thing I like about the Dodgers that they will add talent. If they're able they don't mind adding the payroll up more and bringing on an extra pitcher. Dare I say might go after Barros from Minnesota. To watch out for that name. You can see them, looking for even Madison Bumgarner. If Arizona going to
I
ship
would love Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah, you could see that there. You could see them adding some to that team, a bullpen help. If the Brewers want to get rid of Hader, can I see the Dodgers scoop in there and try to bring him? No, maybe not because it's a National League team. You might see them want to trade more with the American League clubs. To bring in whatever they need. I don't follow too much, but right now the Dodgers are in a log jam with the San Diego Padres and the surprising San Francisco Giants. The Giants got a stronghold of that division, and you can't really name too many of their players, but they just play so well. They gave Kapler, and they're a surprising and well surprised team.
Do you think they will be in contention for the wild card spot in that division?
Dodgers, the wild card is coming out of the National League West. Both, and it will be both. And what is going to happen now from here to the end of the season is going to be the jockeying of position, Chris. It's going to be if we're going to see who's going to, we're going to see sometime for a stretch the Giants in first. We might have the Dodgers get some surge, get on a winning streak, and go into first. We might even see the Padres. So there's going to be a lot of jockeying. It's going to be important, those head-to-head matchups against one another in the National League West. And then whoever has the better record between those three or in the division itself, they're going to be the division crown, the division winner. And I think that's important because you allow, now you let those two wild card teams go at it, that single elimination, and you could just sit back and wait for them and play them in the next round, in the divisional round. So that's going to be key. That's going to be important. Who's gonna play down the stretch and close it out, Chris. But I like your Dodgers' chances, even if they get into the wild card to win that wild card game. You got Kershaw. You got a lot of good players.
Walker Buehler, Mookie Betts, Bellinger.
Yeah, Bellinger, Muncy. Those guys are good there, man. They're the defending world champions. And can they go on a mini dynasty? They've been in the playoffs for so long too. They've been on a run.
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
I just wanted to tell you something.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
subscribe to your channel,
I
Nick's
appreciate
Real
it.
Talk.
Thank you.
I'm an Oklahoma City Thunder fan and a big New York Knicks fan. But
I know. I told everyone on Nick's Real Talk, and I'll say it on this platform on both of our channels, that you were the one that called, that you had that intuition that the Knicks were going to go on that homestand, that not long winning streak homestand on the For the Love of the Game podcast. And you just said they were going to go hot, and they got hot in the regular season. So we got to give you credit, and you and Dave Jackson. I know that Dave Jackson also called for a winning streak with the New York Knicks, and both of you guys in different platforms, not knowing each other, had that same feeling. So great minds think alike. Chris, I appreciate that. I appreciate for the subscription and for the questions here for the LA Dodgers.
do you think the Knicks could get Jonathan Kuminga or Kenon Johnson out of Tennessee?
That's going to be tough with Kuminga because I don't think he'll be around when the Knicks pick unless they move up.
I think the Knicks could move up to 10, maybe.
Okay, if they could put a package and move up, but it looks like they want to trade these picks to bring in a bona fide point guard. They were rumored to Colin Sexton. They've been rumored for other players. And trying to move around to see if they
One
can
point guard that I saw on NBA Mock Draft Net is Miles McBride out of West Virginia.
There's going to be a lot of names from here until the draft night, Chris, and we'll see what it goes. Tomorrow on Knicks Real Talk, we'll break down all that Knicks talk and all that basketball talk. I know the NBA Finals are tied at 2-2. Now it's the best.
I see that series going to 7.
I agree too. It's the best of 3 series. It comes down to. I thought it would be. I thought Phoenix was going to win that in 6, but it could still end in 6. But man, Milwaukee's on a mission. Man, Milwaukee is playing well. Kudos to Middleton, was dropping 40 points in last night's game and took over that.
I am rooting for Chris Paul because he started his NBA career here in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, Chris Paul. I'm hoping we have all of us had that same sympathy pick for Chris Paul because he's 16-year veteran in the league, and we all would like to see him
and
win.
Hey, BX Jedi.
Yes.
One
Yes,
more
sir.
thing. I'm also a Phoenix Suns fan, and I really like the bouts too in Milwaukee. But I have Phoenix winning it all if Milwaukee can't win a game in Arizona.
Yeah, that's going to be key. Can Milwaukee, if the Milwaukee go up, can they win that key pivotal game 5 on the road tomorrow, or is it tomorrow or Saturday? If they can win that pivotal game 5, they'll be in good shape, man. They'll be in good shape even if it goes 7 to have a chance to contend and win. Get Giannis Antetokounmpo that world title. Can he get it? Anything could happen there. Let me ask you a question. What are you hearing with your Oklahoma City Thunder? Are they trading SGA?
I don't think so, but what I heard, they could trade up with Detroit to maybe get Cade Cunningham or something like that. Potato, potato,
let me ask
sweet.
you something. But if they get Kate Cunningham, they have too many of the same position because you got Dork, you got SGH.
I
You
heard that they could get Cade, Evan Mobley, or Jalen Sachs, one of
that
those three
that
guys.
makes Mobley makes more sense. With that,
Oh,
to
sorry
forward.
about that. That's
No, it's
that's
okay.
my dog.
No, that's okay. We have one here too that he'll be barking in a minute to say hello to because our dog always does that every
I'm
program.
outside right now.
That's cool. But anyway, listen. Tomorrow, Nick's Real Talk. Come on board. Throw up in your name in the chat. We appreciate you subscribing, hit that notification so when we come on or whenever we do the program, you could be part of the chat and you could join us. We're gonna end the program tonight.
If I don't be on tomorrow, I will be watching you guys. I love you
Absolutely,
so, man. You and
man. Hey, Chris, I
and
appreciate you
Divine.
coming
You guys are awesome. Salute to
on.
you.
I know he appreciates that. I know he appreciates everyone. That's where the chat is where it's at. That's the motto of our program. You know, our chat. You know, without the chat, we are not a show. We do it for you, love of your fans, and we're a fan from a fan to the fans, and we provide that. And we're nothing without you guys. So we are this participation program, and we're gonna wrap up in a minute. We want to thank you, Chris, for coming aboard with us, and I appreciate you coming on. And don't be a stranger, and always, hey, go Dodgers. We'll keep, whenever the Dodgers are winning, I'm gonna think about you, and I know, and anything I hear from the Dodgers baseball wise, I'll make sure that I get a hold of you and be able to let you know that what's going on with the Dodger land. And we appreciate you, Chris. Thank you so much, and it was a pleasure speaking with you. We'll talk to you on next time. And then guys, before we go out, just want to talk about a little bit about wrestling. Just want to put a in memorial, rest in peace to Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. I
Heard about
remember.
that, yeah.
Yeah,
Glad.
a childhood wrestler of mine. With Hulk Hogan, and and I appreciate rest in peace to Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, part of the with also him and Rick Martel and all those different tag teams, young stallions and Mr. Wonderful, what a wrestler. Good memories of my childhood with him. Rest in peace, and we'll see. We'll break down the wrestling some other time. I just wanted to make the program a little short. Just wanted to see how it ran between both Briggs Real Talk and BX Sports Jedi collaborating. Because remember, we're gonna have the draft party here on this program on both networks and possibly a third one. But we want to appreciate you. We thank you guys for subscribing. To Chris, appreciate you subscribing and being part of the program, being on and speaking with us. Divine, safe travels. I know you're taking care of business. The same thing to Project Hector Nerd, to Frank Matos, to Jorge Puentes, to City for Real, Dark City that might come on here, Hector, Jorge, from Mikey to Camilio to Tim Smith, CT. We appreciate, man. We thank you, every one of you guys, because you guys, man, you guys make this program spectacular, and we definitely appreciate you guys part of the program. Don't forget tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow.